Hello and welcome to the Home Assistant Podcast. My name's Phil. Joining me as usual, I've got Rohan. How's it going?
Hey, good.
As usual, this episode of the Home Assistant Podcast is sponsored by Home Assistant Cloud by Nabu Casa. Easily access your local Home Assistant instance remotely for a small monthly fee that supports the Home Assistant and the ESP Home projects. Configuration is done via the user interface, so no fiddling with router settings, SSL certificates, or any YAML. All right, Mr. Rohan, 2023.8 is here.
Yeah.
Now, we did have, in the last month, we had our episode with Mike talking about Year of the Voice, which was an awesome episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did miss it, it's in your podcast feed and on YouTube. Go listen, watch it, whatever you want to do. Had a great chat with Mike. Thought it was an awesome episode. There's also Year of the Voice, Chapter 3. Rohan, did you get a chance to see any of it?
I didn't actually get to see it, but I did speak to Mike about it a little bit, and I mean, Mike spoke a bit about it too, and on the last episode, and even on the creators call last time, I got to speak to Mike about it a little bit. So it seems really cool, and where they want to go, even like with the ongoing chapters, stuff like that. Long story short is, how can we bring in, expand that Home Assistant assist functionality, right? With voice and stuff like that, effectively to mimic something like an Amazon Echo, or a Google Home or something like that, except obviously a lot more privacy focused, a lot more, it's got that Home Assistant feel to it, right? Or the Home Assistant flavor to it, which is really cool. So I'm pretty excited for it. And if you haven't watched it or heard it, you should go check it out. It is really cool. Even though I'm saying that I haven't watched it, but I've caught up with what it's with what it's about and stuff. So it is pretty neat.
And I think one of the slides on there was like, yes, we've heard everyone. The conversation always been, we need wake words. So I am excited to see the ability to have custom wake words for an assistant, right? No longer needing to call out, a Google or a name that has been decided by a company. That being said, Jarvis maybe in my future.
Yeah. well, and again, I don't even know if it's going to be like custom, like whatever, but just the ability to have wake words alone.
Yes.
Is actually a pretty lofty goal. It's pretty impressive.
Particularly for like an open source project, right? Like not a multi-million-dollar company that, has an AI division and voice division and all that.
Yeah. I mean, this is not, again, we got to remember, this isn't Amazon or Google or whatever. It's literally Mike and a few others from Nabu Casa and other contributors as well from outside of Nabu as well. And it's a small but mighty team, right? And it is, if you think about what they're actually trying to do, it's actually very impressive, and genuinely. And shout out to Mike and everybody that's been working on the voice side of the project. It is truly amazing. And Mike's ended up releasing like a couple of other like associated like software with it just because of they need it for this, right? So that's all available too, and it is very cool.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, but and for those of us that don't know, wake word is like saying like ALEXA or SIRI or like I'm trying not to trigger everything here, but like or okay. G word. Yeah, right. So instead of having to press a button or something like that too, which is today is what you can do, right? You can get one of those little Atom S3 things by M5 Stack, and like press the button and say, "Hey, turn on the light," right? Which is great. But then if you're getting up to go press a button, you might as well just turn on the light yourself, like with the switch, right? So it's
agreed. Yeah. All right, 2023.8. So I think we've had a few big releases, fair to say. Last couple of months have been sort of really big releases. For my personal, zoomed out view, not much here compared to the previous releases. Like the last release with the response values was a huge change.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing like extremely big. I think this is like a sort of a bite-size release. It builds on what's been done previously, but it's not shocking, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Frank was also saying, it's like, yeah, this is a pretty small release, except we talked about it for like 45 minutes just about this, right? So it's small, but there's some interesting and potentially powerful things in here. So
I think so. If you're a non-English speaker, native non-English speaker, and I assume you're not running this podcast through a translation service at the time, all services in Home Assistant, so light.turn on, cover.open, can now be translated. So this is really taking the ability for non-English people around the world to use Home Assistant. And I think this is actually fantastic because it also unlocks, a lot of other people to be able to create automations, and then in turn, those can then come back into English. We just see a whole new world of automations that can be created now, and then that may not have been thought of because that person didn't speak English. Now they have access to Home Assistant.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff, a lot of the translation work has actually already been done, right? But somehow services was kind of missed. So when you go into that services menu now, it'll natively be like, instead of like the drop down sort of like turn on a light or something like that, it'll literally be like whatever in whatever language, right? Whether Dutch or Hindi or whatever your selection is there.
I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a big Chinese Home Assistant community as well. And I have a feeling that they maybe have like a fork of Home Assistant running somewhere as well that's pretty popular.
Interesting.
It's been a while since I checked it out, but so I think, and there's a whole I think there's a Chinese Home Assistant forum as well, like just a dedicated, instead of community.home assistant, it's like a full Chinese version of Home Assistant users going out and discussing things. So I can only imagine, like we've seen other YouTube creators, there's someone's creating like the release notes for Spanish, Dutch, French, there's a whole world of content that's just not English as well. So fully support it.
Which is really cool, right? Again, it's even if people are running it off of there, like it's not like you're copying or anything like that, right? Just that's the point of the open source project, is take it and kind of do what you want, right? Within reason, right? With whatever the license is, right?
So if you do want to help out with the translations, not all the services have been translated yet. There is some documentation on the Home Assistant website. You don't need to be a developer. I think they use Localize as their service. It's basically, they'll give you a prompt of what is this in English. If you can translate it, you just type it in and it gets submitted as a translation. So if you want to help out in that way, please step forward.
Yeah. And you don't need to do like go on to GitHub and do a pull request or any of that. It's actually a pretty easy process. So if you speak another language, don't hesitate to help out there if you want to give back to the community in a different way. All right. There's also a new event entity. So I'm actually personally excited for this. I've got a couple of MQTT buttons that I have. And I brought them in as sensors in through MQTT. So what's happening now is there is a event entity, which is actually the perfect entity for something like a button, because a button isn't necessarily a sensor. It's not necessarily measuring anything or things like that. Aside of the gross inaccuracy of how it's brought in, right? But it's cool because now we're saying, okay, based on this, we're triggering a certain thing. So again, that is an event. So now it comes in as like, hey, button is, and depending on the functionality of the button, it might be a short press or a long press or a double press or triple, whatever, you get the idea. It's not necessarily a binary sensor, which is just 0 or 1 or off or on. It can be described a little nicer. other thing is, based on any kind of event, you can all like it has to be supported by the integration. Like the integration actually needs to bring in the event entity. But if that is the case, it's cool because it's actually, if you have a ton of stuff that's happening in your logbook, right, that's like flowing through and stuff like that, you're just like, hey, what happened to this button? And that actually can come in, and it can also serve as a second, like, more filtered view of the logbook, if you want to look at it that way, right? So if you have like a Philips Hue remote, for example, with 4 buttons, and it's like, okay, well, whatever, maybe kids have been sitting there pressing all the buttons, whatever that is, and you care about when button 2 was pressed. You can kind of, again, it's not meant to be used that way, but it is a cool little filter that you can use and be like, oh, it was pressed 4 seconds ago and it was pressed for 2 seconds, like a long press or whatever, right? So yeah. I'm going to be rewriting some of my Node-RED things in for MQTT, where I bring in certain like buttons and stuff like that, like this little thing. And when I bring that into Home Assistant, so I'm now going to switch it to use the state entity. And again, you are able to run automations and stuff based on the state of that, right? So or the event entity, sorry. So I said state entity earlier, but yeah. So based on that state, you can actually still run automations and stuff. So you're not locking yourself out of any of that.
It's very cool.
Yeah. So initially, it's going to support Matter buttons or Matter devices, HomeKit devices, MQTT devices, like the one I was talking about, and Philips Hue. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to seeing what other people bring from that too. It's going to be pretty neat.
I'd like to see like a template event being like the ability for an to define like an event from a template, if that makes sense. So I have my smart door lock, and I have it emits like status codes depending on what's been done. So if I put my PIN code in, then status 1 might come out. My wife puts her PIN code in, status 2 might come out. If we lock the door, it might be status 3, etc. And so I've essentially got like a template that says, all right, based on this status code, if the door's locked, then it was locked manually, unlocked by this person. I wonder if I could then convert that. Right now, it's just a text sensor, right? Like just the state of a sensor changes based on whatever I've got. I wonder if I could now use this event entity to say, all right, door was unlocked by Phil 20 minutes ago, or locked manually. I don't know if that's where this event entity is supposed to be used. If it's a good use case, maybe the current sensor that I have is the better use case for it.
I think it can be, but I just don't know if it's, because depending on how you bring the sensor into Home Assistant, right, or how that integration brings it into Home Assistant, it might just not even be there yet. Not to say that it won't be there ever, it just might not be there yet. So that may change your direction.
Yeah, because even like to things like I could have against the door lock, I could have Phil's access code, and when I last use it is the event that got triggered. Right. So then I can see, all right, when would I last use my access code on this door lock? Because right now I'd have to go through the state history, right? Yeah. See the history of, when that changed. So
Phil came in at this time, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed that will be on the horizon. Yeah. So there is now the ability to add items to the shopping list inside Home Assistant with the assist.
Yeah.
So you can ask Assist to add things to the shopping list. There is something that we are missing here in the show notes. We've deliberately I've left it out because it may or may not make the final release. So if you're listening to this, it may not be there. Ryan, you can probably talk to this a little bit more, but there is the ability for wildcards in responses in like service calls now, I think.
Yeah, so it's basically when you generate or when you use Assist and say something like, hey, add potatoes to the shopping list. So there's a wild card there, right? So we know we're looking at a shopping list, but we also know, hey, we want potatoes. Potatoes is the wild card. That could be potatoes or tomatoes or chips or whatever. So that's what's happening here now is we're saying, okay, let's get that wild card, and then based on that, do a specific action, right? So, I mean, the flow is fairly simple. The hard part is the wild card part, and it's not extremely flexible today, but hopefully it will be as time goes on. But so, for example, it'll say like, okay, it knows that you're talking about the shopping cart, and then because that's the phrase it's searching for, and then you go in, build an automation saying, okay, add whatever's in the wild card to shopping list, right? So, again, the other example Mike was using was play, whatever by this artist, right? So same kind of thing, and in that case, there's two wild cards there, right? So, in which case you have like artist name and you have song title. So those are some of the kind of things that you can do with it. However, there is a bit of a caveat here where you can't really say add potatoes and tomatoes to the shopping list, right? And that'll show up as one entity that says potatoes and tomatoes.
I don't think you can do that with the commercial voice assistants, or if you can, it's like hit and miss.
Yeah, no, I have tried. I haven't tried it lately, but I've tried it with my Amazon Echoes, and it does the same thing, right? It'll say added potatoes and tomatoes, and you go in and look, it's one line item, right? Saying potatoes and tomatoes, whatever. But yeah, so that's some really cool stuff that they're working on. Hopefully it makes it into this release. If not, should be in the next one, I would assume.
Yeah, so if you want to then you would have an automation set up, and you'll be essentially, I'm saying, if I say this sentence to assist and I have this wild card, then I would take that value from the wild card and add it into the shopping list.
Correct.
Nice.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. All right. Generate an image with OpenAI's DALL-E. So hopefully people have heard of ChatGPT. It's actually getting to the point where I actually have to block out certain services. Where it's like, for example, when I go on, oh my goodness, what is the app called? A social, actually pretty much any social media. A lot of my feed is like, hey, look at this AI thing. Look at this AI thing. And I'm just like,
so
I
many
don't
Twitter
care.
threads on,
oh man,
ChatGPT is old now. These 5 new things just got released that are going to kill it, sort of thing, right?
Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, it's literally like Mastodon. My Mastodon, I stopped going on it because it's just full of OpenAI. I still go on it, but it's literally scrolling, GPT, right? And it's a really cool technology. Do not get me wrong. But anyways, the makers of ChatGPT, a company called OpenAI, they've also got a few other APIs. One of those APIs is what they call DALL-E. It's an image generation API. So I can say, hey, get me a picture of Phil, I don't know, eating a cake, right? Yep. And it'll go in and generate a picture of, might not know Phil specifically, but whatever, an astronaut eating a cake, right? And it'll kind of generate that picture for you. So that's brought into Home Assistant now as a service. So there's like OpenAI's conversation and then .generate image. And basically you can go in and put your parameters there. So you can say, hey, generate an image that, does whatever. Where this gets cool is when you start doing things like, hey, let me do dynamic cards, right? For like weather cards and stuff like that. So if it's a beautiful day outside, hey, go generate an image of generate a sunny image in Toronto, right? Yep. So based on that, it goes in, okay, here's Toronto and skyscapes, sunny or cloudy or rainy or whatever that is. Right. And then depending on what you have too and again, that's something you can pull from a weather entity and easily. And depending on what you have, you can take that and then maybe even push that to a TV. So you can have if you have like a frame TV or something similar, you can have like that TV background, or maybe if you have like a smart photo frame or a smart
that's exactly what I was
tablet even, right, on a wall somewhere. So a lot of cool things you can do with it. It's again, I think it's a more fun integration where you can, but again, it can also be fun / purposeful, right? Like, it doesn't just have to be, hey, give me a picture of an astronaut riding a unicorn, like like whatever that is, right? Like it's.
I wonder. I haven't played around with this API yet, but I wonder if I could send it in like my schedule and not necessarily create an image, but like for it to generate like a nice way of displaying what my schedule is for today. Like, meeting at 9 a.m. with, Rohan, and then 12 p.m. have lunch, right? Just like a calendar. Yeah. As long as that's an image, then I can put that up, as you said, like on my TV as a background or on my mural canvas in the morning, so that, I have like for my daughter, like trying to show her what's going on today. That would be like a great use case for her, right? Like you're going to the playground today at, midday, right? So here's a picture of a playground and all that. Right?
And the cool thing is, it's not going to be the same image twice, right? Because it's generated. So but even something like, I mean, I just, for whatever reason, I was just looking at my background and it's like, okay, water the plants, right? So great, throw up pictures of plants there at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., like something like that, right?
Yeah.
So visually, you're also like, why are there plants on the thing? And it's like, oh, right, I got to water the plants.
My washing machine's finished, and Home Assistant knows the washing machine's finished. So throw up a picture of dirty laundry or like clean laundry. Or,
hopefully clean laundry, yes.
or someone, putting out the washing on the line, right?
Yeah. No, but again, is it absolutely necessary? No. Like in the last scenario, will a Amazon Echo alert or a phone alert work just as well? Absolutely. But why not, right?
I mean, if someone has hardware to display these images, maybe it's good for people that can't read, right?
Or they have really like really poor eyesight in general, or something like that, right? I mean, we've had folks on here with talking about visual impairments, right?
Yep.
And even with something like that, it's you might still be able to see. You just need to see it in a larger format, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's not necessarily an all or nothing kind of thing, right? If that's something that helps, cool, right? Might not help if it's like if you can't see even that like a larger format, but it's still interesting. I always like to look at it. How can it help somebody with going through something, right? Like not necessarily going through something, but like how can it help somebody that's with some kind of visual impairment or any kind of thing like that. So
yeah, like someone needs a reminder to take their medication, generate an image of medication, and then that prompts them, oh, I need to go and press that button over there once I've taken my pills this morning, right?
Yeah. Or
but they may not be able to read or for whatever reason.
But even for children, right? It's a good cue, right? Like you put a picture of food there, and they're like, "Mom, Dad, I'm hungry," whatever, right? Like it's to kind of visually cue them there. But I don't know, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
So a new condition selector for blueprints is now available. So the selector takes and shows the condition part of the automation editor. So where you would choose things like, has this person at home, whatever. So this is going to be, I think, one of the big game changers for me for blueprints. Like right now I struggle with blueprints in a way that, like, for example, I think there's a standard motion activated light blueprint that comes with Home Assistant, right? As a sort of, your stock standard example, right? All it does is motion detected via this motion sensor, turn on the light. That's cool. But what if I want to now only turn that light on if people are home, right?
Yeah.
Now, how many ways, Skin a Cat, have we talked about on this podcast about how you detect if someone's home? Do I detect it if I'm home? What if I want to detect it if my wife's home? And then having to go in, like you can't, previously with blueprints, you would have to then create the automation and then I assume go in and edit and add your condition logic to each automation that's created from it. This way, it just adds a condition block. I'm pretty sure you can then go in, you can create the condition block like an and or an or condition. So, for example, I might have, if my alarm panel is disarmed or my alarm panel is in armed night mode, which might be completely separate to how you do your home, Rohan.
Yeah.
But the result being that we can both use this motion activated blueprint, the base of it, but still tie in our own home nuances to it.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I thought that was a filtered list of like stuff that you can do with your system that based on whatever it is you're using, right? So I might be wrong, but I thought that's what it was. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. All right, so that's it for the new features. Let's talk about some integrations. So there's an independent power and broadband company called Electric Kiwi in New Zealand. So if you use them, they're now in here.
Duo Techno nodes can now be integrated with Home Assistant. I don't know if you've checked out this company, Rohan, but I just jumped on their website just to see what these nodes could be. And they've actually got a really cool, if not cheesy, like explainer video of what they do. Attractive woman entering, this futuristic smart house with her husband, or they're having like a nice movie night and they can press buttons. The technology that they at least show off in this video looks pretty futuristic. I was impressed. So I believe they are a Belgium smart home company. I assume it comes with a price tag and only available in Europe. So far, from what I can understand of the integration, it only supports switches. But this company in their promo video at least claims you can control, that they've got motion sensors, they've got music control, blind control, media control. So hopefully this is just like a phase one of this integration, and that will sort of go out to the others.
Yeah. It's they again, I don't know, I've never heard of them before looking at the release notes, but I did look at their stuff a couple of days ago when the release notes came out in the RC. And it looks their stuff looks really polished, right? It looks really cool.
Yeah.
At least in the video, that's what it comes off as. But it's I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's bringing in home automation into home automation systems.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, Gardena Bluetooth. So if you have Gardena devices, these are pretty common, and I know when the creators call, like a couple of us were saying, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know what that is." Yeah, so they are pretty popular out there. I don't know where they're from or anything like that, but they make a lot of gardening type of like smart irrigation timers, or whatever, those kind of things. They make a lot of those quick connects for like connecting your hose to the sprinkler. They make a lot of sprinklers and all that kind of stuff too.
Connectors and all that, yeah.
Yeah, so they are now for their Bluetooth devices, you can now bring those into Home Assistant. So, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I looked at this because I'm, back in my mind, I'm like, all right, I need smart irrigation at one point. And I was then disappointed. Then I got onto the Gardena Smart website, and they got their robot lawnmower out there, and I can buy that. Yeah, doesn't integrate with Home Assistant because it's not Bluetooth. They've got power sockets. Oh, nope, that's only for Europe. They've got a smart water pump. Oh no, that's only for Europe too. So
I think I've seen some stuff in. I don't know. I think it was Gardena's that I saw that was smart water timers and stuff like that. Yeah. But maybe I'm wrong. In I think they've local
the Bluetooth. I think they've got there's your standard tap timer that you can put on, right? Water from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., right? Which is now can be controlled by Bluetooth. The irrigation zone systems and all that, I'm not sure.
I don't think I've never seen that from them.
Yeah.
They might have a multi-tap kind of thing, but
Yeah.
But yeah, they might have like a multi-tap thing, but it's I don't think that's smart in any way. Maybe, yeah, but whatever. If you find one and it's got Bluetooth, hopefully it works with Home Assistant. Yeah,
There you go. All right, O-Power allows you to read out energy information from utilities that use their protocol or service. So the integration will add sensors for gas and electricity, including current usage, forecasted usage, and the typical monthly usage. Now, this is a virtual integration, which means that when you're looking to add this integration to Home Assistant, you want to use the other brand that uses it. So this is available for Atlantic City Electric, Baltimore Gas and Electric, Commonwealth Edison. There's a whole bunch more as well in our show notes. But yeah, if you're on the list of energy providers that supports this protocol, then you can then go into Home Assistant, look up your energy provider, and then it will add the O-Power integration for you and bring in those sensors for you.
Yeah, there you go. Pegel Online, which is basically the German Federal Waterways and Shipping Administration. Now you can bring in water level sensors into Home Assistant for that. So, yeah.
Cool. I guess if you're like deciding I'm going to take the boat out this weekend, that might be information you want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's handy.
All right. So, Rohan, I think we had a couple of big episodes. We've had a lot of feedback in our inbox, feedback@hasspodcast.io if you want to reach out to us or on the YouTube comments. So, Jerry got back to us on the dryer automations. I think that you were having struggles with in Canada there, Rohan, with your gas dryer and all that. So he said, you were talking about automations for a dryer and using an Acquire vibration sensor on the machine to tell if the drum was rotating or not. So he does something similar. I did something similar, but I fixed the sensor inside the drum. So I use Blue Tack, and it holds pretty well. So it gets a very accurate result. I actually also put an Acquire temperature and humidity sensor in too, so I can also trigger an alert based on when humidity gets to a set level in the drum. I do have the same issue as you guys on the washing machine, as the vibration sensor is outside and it can be hit or miss. So not enough vibration being picked up on the washing machine. I've seen a recommendation to attach the sensor directly to the outside of the washer drum, but I'm not ready to opening up the machine to do this one, which I can completely understand.
Yeah. And I don't know how that would affect, like putting it inside, like inside the machine itself. I don't know how that would affect the connectivity. Just, I think it's one of those things where it's
because washing machines are generally like a big metal box, right? You're not getting much signal out of there.
Wireless. Yeah,
could
exactly.
Be its own little Faraday cage.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I do like that they put the sensor inside the drum. I wonder if that has any effect on the life of the sensor, right? Because these aren't like ruggedized sensors or meant for heat in any way. But sounds like it works, so I may try that. It's better than what I've got right now, so which is nothing. It goes to show though, it's great that my washing machine and dryer don't vibrate violently, so it's a good thing, I think, maybe. But,
I have one that does vibrate violently, and I have to constantly put it back in its place every wash cycle. Right, it walks halfway across the laundry. So
yeah. All right, Levin on the dryer sensor as well, saying I tried ESP Home vibration sensors in my laundry monitoring project and also could never get them to work. For whatever reason, they would always get stuck to on or off. Yeah, ditto. I saw. Well, I guess that's just Zigbee not updating fast enough, but in my case. But however, this ESP Home sales switch idea that someone had posted online is working flawlessly. So you basically get a small section of ducting, cut or drill a small hole into it, mount a long lever switch inside a small plastic box and extend the lever into the duct, and then attach the plastic box to the duct with screws. from there, get some plastic, cut it in a circle, and thread the lever into the ducting, and then pressure should hold it in place, and then basically insert it in line. So I think, did we have somebody that talked about that? I don't know why that sounds really familiar. I think somebody talked about doing something like that.
Sounds like something MacGyver would be like a home automation MacGyver setup.
Yeah. But I actually like that option too. It's in line. It's, when it's going, that kind of thing, right? So thank you to Jerry and Levin for getting back to us on that one. I appreciate that. Let me investigate and try and do something with that.
There you go. All right. TwizShiz replied to us on YouTube as well about smart coffee machines. So if you do get one of those smart coffee machines that comes with a coffee bean grinder, you can connect it to your water line with a filter, and then you've got fresh coffee every single morning. I recently got one. My wife and I work from home. I have an input boolean that is turned on at 4 a.m. every morning. Whenever the kitchen motion sensor is occupied, it checks to see if the input boolean called first motion coffee has been turned on. If it's off, then the automation is skipped. If it's on, then it sends an Alexa command. If it's on, it sends an Amazon Echo command to start the coffee. It grinds it and fills up the tank, heats the water, and then brews the coffee. I was thinking about adding an Amazon Echo response, something like, "Good morning, do you want me to make a coffee?" If I say yes, then it goes and makes me a coffee.
Nice.
Anyway, it turns off the input boolean as well to make sure that it does not happen again. So there you go, a completely automated coffee solution. And if you don't want a coffee in the morning, you could potentially just tell your little Amazon Echo lady, "No, don't make me a coffee this morning."
That is very cool. I like that.
I don't know how good the coffee would be coming out of these machines. I'm not a coffee drinker.
I assume they're good. Yeah. Oh, fair enough. I would assume it's perfectly fine. I wouldn't. I had no reason to think otherwise. But
that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
2023.8. Rohan, thank you very much. Speak to you soon.
Thank you. All right. Cheers.